A to the K.
to the K.
To the K.
Hello, one and all. Welcome to the A to the K Wrestling Show, and welcome to the Ringside Report.
Oh, yes.
We're coming up tonight. CM Punk updates after he is spotted backstage at WWE. What does this mean for AEW?
What does it mean? That intro music's proper quick now, isn't it?
Quick now.
Right in there. AEW has a new 2-hour Saturday TV show, confirmed.
Triple H unveils a new World Heavyweight Championship set to be crowned at Night of Champions.
I'm looking forward to talking about that. Are WWE planning brand-exclusive premium live events?
Maybe. Drew McIntyre blacks out his Twitter account. What does this mean for his WWE status?
What does it mean indeed? Well, WWE are considering a more violent third hour of WWE RAW. Don't know why I said WWE twice.
Well, yeah. Cody Rhodes set to take on acting roles.
Yay! Goldberg won't retire. Just won't do it.
He won't do it.
He won't retire until he gets a proper send-off.
Braun Strowman suffers a concussion, so now he hears choo-choo noises for real.
Damn. And WWE are now allowing talents to stream on Twitch once again.
Anthony Wentall is coming up.
It's all coming up right friggin' now.
Yes, it is. And we're going to talk about CM Punk.
Let's talk about that.
As we like to do. Now, you know, we're a little bit late to the party on this, but
yes, we are.
CM Punk was spotted Monday backstage at Monday Night Raw. What the heck?
I know, right?
How did that happen? So, obviously...
You heard about this?
This sent the wrestling media world into a bit of a frenzy. I think no one had that on their bingo cards. Why is CM Punk back in WWE? Is he returning? He spoke to Triple H. What does it all mean? Well, so the truth of the matter is he was coming back from Florida to Chicago, where he lives. He was doing some commentary for some fighting promotion that he does his shit for. And by happenstance, there was several other WWE wrestlers on that flight. So he decided, you know what? Got speaking to a few of them. Was like, yeah, I'll come backstage and just see a couple of the guys. I'm, around the corner from the house anyway. So he went there and did that, and he met.
Bridges are easier to cross when you haven't burned them, though.
Well, yeah, but this guy is like walking on fucking coals at this point.
Michael Coles,
Adam Coles. But he was backstage, and apparently he spoke to the likes of The Miz, where it was reported he cleared the air after the whole thing with backstage or whatever, like changing the culture and all that. And he called him what did he call him? A fucking nerd or a fucking dork or something.
I think it might have been a fucking dork.
Yeah. So apparently him and The Miz cleared the air a little bit. He was also
Miz, you're awesome.
just like the theme song says. So I just went, Maurice, am I right?
Respect.
So yeah, him and Miz are apparently cool now. He also spoke to the likes of Baron Corbin and a few others, but he also was spotted speaking to Triple H. Now people were like, he's asking for his job back. No, not really what it means. I think he was he was in town, just chatting and so on and so forth. And I believe he asked Triple H if he was allowed to be backstage, to which Triple H supposedly said, got to check with the big man, referring to Vince, upon which he did so. Vince was like, tell him to leave. So
make him leave.
So CM Punk was then told to leave. He was spotted in the car.
He didn't have any issue with CM Punk. He didn't want him to see him with the dyed hair and the mustache.
Well,
he was like, this is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Just make him leave.
But he was spotted in the parking lot speaking to Tamina and stuff as well, but reportedly after he'd been told to leave the building.
Even more shocking, Tamina was at Raw.
Well, yeah. In catering, but still at Raw. So obviously, yeah, people went into a bit of a frenzy. What does it all mean?
What does it mean?
What does it all mean, Basil? And yeah, apparently not a lot. So he was just there.
I think it's always been like the heat between like him and Triple H has always been kind of exaggerated. Like Triple H wasn't in charge when he got fired on his wedding day, so I don't know if he actually blames him for that.
Yeah.
And I always feel like because of their on-screen rivalry, they kind of blur the lines a little bit. And it's like, did they ever really dislike each other? I could see him sort of being quite all right with Triple H and having a chat with him, to be honest.
The story of my heat has been greatly exaggerated. But by all accounts, no bridges burnt this time, with AEW at least. He was just there backstage. No one flipped the lid when Ricky Starks was there. No one flipped the lid when at the Hall of Fame ceremony, there was people there, wasn't there? Buddy Murphy was there, Andrade was there.
You're tripping over AEW people there.
Exactly, they're just everywhere.
Damn it!
They're not being used on TV because they're being used as cones apparently backstage in WWE.
Of course. Yeah.
Never tripped over a cone.
Sorry. Yeah.
But regardless, so he was backstage. Apparently, it has no
slightly
bearing.
Unrelated, but because of all this talk about burnt bridges, like how good is that Limp Bizkit song, "Build a Bridge"?
To your mind.
That one? Yeah. I might listen to that later. Fucking banger.
How good's Limp Bizkit anyway in WWE? Remember Crack Addict for WrestleMania 12?
Do you remember, was it SmackDown Here Comes the Pain where you could be Fred Durst in the game?
Yes, it was cool. Cool as fuck.
What are we getting now? Bad Bunny?
Yeah.
And Logan Paul?
We had Kevin Federline.
And Rey Mysterio. All these people who can't write. No.
But yeah, so apparently he's still with AEW and his return may be coming sooner than people realise.
Because AEW have confirmed a new Saturday night TV. Saturday night?
I believe so.
Saturday night TV show, third show, and it's going to be AEW Collision. Now, there's a bit of conflicting information here. There's a belief that CM Punk, obviously, they've dealt with things and he will be returning to AEW. That seems almost like a lock at this point. What is a bit up in the air is when. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a big suggestion saying that, it's going to be AEW in Chicago early June, and it's going to be at Dynamite. And then there's another large belief that Collision is going to be the CM Punk show and the people who are willing to work with CM Punk, which I really hope isn't true. I really hope they haven't gone, well, let's just give him his own show.
Like, for a whole 2 hours.
Yeah. And Brett will turn up because,
Oh,
yeah. But I really hope that isn't the case. Like, I understand they'd want a big draw like Punk to be headlining Collision, but I hope it isn't like a case of like, well, no, we'll keep everyone separate because you can't really have that kind of dynamic in the company.
No.
So I hope that's not true. But it seems we're going to see CM Punk back, but is it going to be at Dynamite or are we going to see a Collision?
A Collision, hopefully not with the EVPs yet again. But, just to kind of piggyback off this a little bit, did you hear this in the news? AEW Dark Elevations is reportedly cancelled.
What?
So the last episode is has aired on Monday, I believe.
I feel like their web shows have been highly underrated. Yeah. People just dismiss them as I don't know. They're trying to tap into a market that isn't really appreciated, and I think that's.
Well, they've still got Dark, so it might be that they've got the 4 shows now at least. Because obviously they're going to. I suppose you need
to prioritize, don't you?
Yeah, so Dynamite Rampage, adding another 2 hours in Collision. Did they really need Elevation and Dark? Maybe not. But I'm
glad they're keeping at least one YouTube show though.
Well, because up to now, I hope they do. But I think originally
introduced an internet title and defended on there.
When the format was originally created and stuff, I believe it was in case they created a network one day. They want to have a plethora of matches available to stream, and so therefore,
no, Tony's like, I got Ring of Honor. I don't give a fuck.
Well, exactly. So, fascinating to say the least. But who knows?
Who knows
what will happen with Mr. Punkison.
Oh, Punky Brewster.
But this was a bit of a shock. I'm keen to get your thoughts on this. So I had predicted something like this may happen. I was not expecting it to happen so soon. I thought it might be after the draft at least. I was skipped ahead.
No, you spoiled it, Carl.
It's fine. I was talking about the draft. It was like that was intentional, right?
Wow. It's like
anyone listen to this is thinking, fuck these guys on about, we can't see shit.
That's true.
Triple H unveiled on Monday a brand new title, the World Heavyweight Championship, which is basically the old WCW title with a giant silver WWE logo on the front of it.
This is the first thing we need to talk about, right? I haven't even consulted you on this. I'm gonna nail my colours to the mast right now. And I'm gonna say that is a gorgeous fucking belt.
I prefer it massively to the current ones. I'm not massively keen.
That is a belt I would proudly buy.
Yeah, I don't think I would.
I like that belt. I think it's the right mix of WWE branding and elegance.
It was so close, It was just so close. I think if the WWE logo would have remained gold, maybe the instead of black for the globe, they would have gone with like a blue, like the old school.
Have you seen it outside of that picture? Not with that lighting, because
yes,
it looked a bit dog shit on Raw when the lights were just. Do you know what?
I think it looks better on Raw than it does with the render. So obviously, you look on WWEshop.com and it looks like a toy belt.
I haven't been to WWEshop.com, but I've seen pictures of it in much better lighting, and it looks a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, it might grow on me.
I think it's an awesome belt.
It might grow on me. It's very early days, but I don't know. I don't hate it. It's definitely better than look at my prestigious title, which is 99% leather with a couple of fucking bejazzled diamantes on it.
So
definitely better than that. But I don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me.
Nah, it's fucking boss, that belt. I can't believe you don't love it.
It might grow on me. But Triple H basically came out and scathing in what he said about Roman Reigns, to be honest, and that he was like, I'm bittersweet on this, right? Because he's come out and basically said, Roman Reigns is beating everybody. No one can beat him. But we need a champion who's willing to defend the belt. Therefore, consolation prize.
Didn't he say something along the lines of like, he's been very smart, he's done something I would have done.
Yeah.
And he's negotiated like not
less dates and stuff like that.
Really? Like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna air that out?
A strange way to sell it.
I think that's probably the worst thing about this. I love the belt, but this is second place.
Yeah. And by all accounts as well, I think there's some confusion. From what it seems, Roman's not going to lose the WWE title and only have the Universal. He's still going to keep the WWE and Universal titles and be the undisputed Universal Champion.
That is another issue I have, by the way. Right? So we had the WWE title and the World title, and then we unified them.
Yeah.
Then we ununified them.
Yeah.
Then we unified them again.
Yeah.
Then we introduced the WWE title and the Universal title.
Yeah.
Then we unified them.
Yeah.
And then we bring back the World title again, which was already part of the original WWE title's unification.
Yeah. Fun, right? Wrestling's awesome. But, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. For me, it feels like a consolation prize because, like, you know, say Cody wins this now. So the plan is they're going to crown a champion at Night of Champions to appease the Saudi sponsors, by all accounts. That's why it was changed from King and Queen of the Ring to be Night of Champions, because they were like, we want something bigger. Well, how about we crown our new champion on your show? That suits me.
I hope this isn't Cody.
I mean, it'd be shit if it was.
How shit is it to win that? For starters, this isn't the belt his dad never won.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It negates the whole story.
It ruins the story because this was the WCW title with a WWE logo stuck on top of it.
Yeah.
This is not the WWE title. It's not the belt his dad never won. And it would be this whole, again, the second place. You're not Roman, but here's a belt. That's not great. It's not a great end to the story.
It's the long game, Anthony. What's going to happen is Cody's going to win it, right? Then at WrestleMania 40, they're going to have champion and champion versus champion.
Unify them.
And do you know who's going to win it? Roman. And he's going to have 3 belts, and it's going to be...
you have to wear one and hold 2.
Exactly. Instead of Heyman, who will turn on him, he'll have one Uso with 1 belt, another Uso with another, and he'll have one round his waist, and that'll be the whole bloodline. Fun times had by all.
Chaos, man.
So yeah, fascinating developments, if you will. Triple H said it was a announcement which was going to shake the foundations to its core or something like that. Maybe not quite, but still.
You've seen with the foundations, like barriers fall over all the time.
Yeah,
it's
But you can't have anyone giving Tony Khan shit anymore for Tony Khan has this huge announcement, because essentially that's what WWE did. At least this week it's Tony. We will hear from Tony Khan. So at least he's toned it down.
Shake the foundation to its very core. It's like,
we've now got the brand new Quattros titles.
Quattros?
Yeah. Trios, right? Waitrose? Very British.
I think people are quickly shitting on his title because they want a big gold back. I totally get why they wouldn't bring back.
For me, I'd give it Seth Rollins as well, by the way. You've got my shout.
I think Seth
deserves it. Deserves it 100%.
So, Carl, speaking of deserving it 100%, WWE are potentially on the back of the draft, which is happening soon.
Can close the door.
It's already started. I'm behind the times. Is it already started?
No, Friday.
Is it Friday?
Depending on when you watch this, it may or may not have started.
This
will come out on Thursday. So
okay, I'm trying to play the game, but yeah, we haven't started.
Right, Triple H.
So, on the back of the draft, and obviously the what seems to be a more defined roster split at this point. We skipped one in 22. We're going to try and split it here. We're going to have Roman exclusively on one show. They made that very clear. So we're going to have probably a more defined sort of separation. And on the back of that, what they're looking at doing is returning to exclusive pay-per-views or premium live events, as they like to call them now. Whereas I think in the past we had like Backlash being a Raw pay-per-view and so on like that. So the belief is that the network were quite happy with that previously and are maybe looking to return to that once the draft has taken place. How do you feel like this?
I don't know.
I mean, they still need to meet up at certain pay-per-views, don't they? You can't have like...
Survivor Series, that's going to come back. War Games is gone. It's Raw versus SmackDown again. I don't know how I feel about it. The problem for me, which I've always said, the roster depth is not significant enough to warrant 2 completely separate shows of star power. For me, you've got, 10, 15 major players in that company. So why siphon them off to different shows, and why not just put on your best shows every week with your biggest talent all the time?
I agree. I think that's what makes things stale, is when you've got a lack of opponents.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I do good words.
Yeah, and believe it or not, whatever this whole thing about hiring freeze, whatever's going on, it doesn't sound like that there's going to be padding out them rosters significantly anytime soon.
Budget cuts.
We have got a lot of injuries at the minute. There's AJ Styles, Randy Orton, people like that, all set to come back. So that could be a bit of a shot in the arm. But I don't know. I've never been a massive fan of these single like branded pay-per-views, to be honest, because as I say, I want to see the best stars at all times. But we'll see whether they go down that route. And also, I hope they don't play into that Raw versus SmackDown.
Yeah,
especially in the way that's like literally. They do like Survivor Series sort of Raw versus SmackDown, but they've just done a draft like the week before. And then how can someone be so impassioned about protecting Raw when they've been on the show for a fucking 10 minutes?
I can't believe they haven't leaned into that whole building up Survivor Series a bit more significantly and having like Game of Thrones-esque like betrayals and stuff.
Deaths.
Well, not actual deaths.
We're on Raw, so here's the red wedding.
No, I may have exaggerated it by saying Game of Thrones. They don't do any build up before it where they're like scheming. And trying to get people to turn and trying to get people to let's say
the invasion.
In the past when you've split up the New Day and you've gone, well, Big E's going to be on SmackDown and the rest of the New Day going to be on Raw, and you get to a Survivor Series, would it have made sense, because they are all clearly still friends and still the New Day, that he would try and get them to maybe botch something or subtly, but you get to see that scheming throughout it, and that actually builds you up to go, fucking SmackDown.
It's far too creative, isn't it? Like, for me, if you think about the invasion, it was always like Paul Heyman, Stephanie and Shane trying to do what they could to get WWE wrestlers to defect and come over and join them. You don't see any of that shit. It's like they need to define clear rules about what the draft is. Is it only an event that takes place once a year, or can GMs...
I think I kind of understand it. Like, Charlotte can go wherever the fuck she wants.
Yeah. With the network like shit, you'll be wherever. But I hope as well, just going off script a little bit, I hope we finally address the Adam Pearce problem here and just fuck him off and just actually bring back GMs or something.
Or have him lose his fucking mind and fight with himself.
Well, exactly. But it's like it's pointless when you got the same guy running both shows. So what's the point in that?
Yeah.
I have them separate anyway.
They don't need to be on screen all the time.
Yeah.
Just when stuff like this happens.
Yeah.
It's like Tony Khan.
Unless he's got an announcement, you don't fucking hear from him, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
So just be like that. Be more calm.
Today.
I know. Fucking love you, Tony. So the next one to talk about, speaking of people I love, big meaty man himself, Drew McIntyre. And absence does not make the heart grow fonder, because I'm scared, I'm worried, I'm hurt. Drew McIntyre has not been seen since WrestleMania. Obviously, he had a banger with Sheamus during the match, and Gunther, which great match, probably one of the better matches of Mania. And since then, we haven't seen him, which would be fine. But apparently, he was scheduled a couple of times for SmackDown, and for whatever reason, that got nixed. And the belief is he may be potentially injured or something like that. But we know his contract is coming up for renewal very soon. We know he's not signed that renewal. And what adds more fuel to the fire is that he's recently blacked out his profile picture on Twitter and removed references to WWE.
It feels a little bit like he stormed off to his room.
A little bit. But he's taken his sword and gone home, if you will. Right?
Well, it's Vince's sword, so can't do that.
But I don't know how to feel about this. I can't imagine. I'm not the biggest fan of how they've used Drew over the last couple of, over the last year or so. He deserves more. I'll give him that. But I can't see, where's he going to go? I don't want to see him in Impact again. I don't want to see him rock up in AEW because he just wouldn't fit. Who's he going to fight? Wardlow? Him versus MJF, he's like fucking 10 times the size of him.
To be honest, if he rocked up, and AEW wouldn't do it this way, if he rocked up in AEW, he'd have to destroy MJF and become champion quickly to show that dominance. But they're not going to go, look how dominating this guy from the other show has been straight out the gate. So they wouldn't book it that way.
No. But
for me, I think it'd ruin the whole point. The whole story naturally, not deliberately, but the whole story naturally for him was getting his way back to WWE. Yeah. So I think to end it on, they didn't willing to pay me enough, so I blacked out my Twitter.
It's not ideal. No, it's not ideal. But obviously, we don't know all the factors with it. But I do feel like
this could just be a little bit of a work, social media wise, and he's injured. Yeah.
It could be, coming back in the draft and all that. You never know. But you make a good point. It's kind of like the Cody arc, isn't it? Is he's finally found his way back to WWE, and is he going to win the belt? And that's exactly what happened with Drew. He was the chosen one, and he fucked it up. And he went away, and he came back better than ever, won the belt, and then none.
Yeah.
That's what potentially could happen with Cody. But,
fearfully, yes.
I don't know. He deserves to be there, and he deserves to get a bit more love, I think. So
because Drew can draw.
He can. It's in his name.
Well, no, it's past tense. He drew.
He did drew.
He doesn't draw.
He did drew. Doesn't what? Anyway, English language. And he's Scottish. That just makes it even worse.
Drew. So, Carl. Nick Khan, not Tony, Nick, was recently interviewed by the people who were interviewing him. And they asked him about, the current status with the whole buyout with Endeavour and UFC and what it meant for the network deals and such like that. And we learned in that interview that the network deals are still very much intact. One of the questions they asked about was, could we see maybe a walking away a little bit from the PG area, a bit more violence, a bit more blood. And he sort of didn't specifically say yes, but he alluded to the fact that he thinks the network would be open to the conversation if they were to look at the last hour of Raw, the 10 to 11, as a potentially that can be where you get more of that sort of content. So it seems like Raw might just, as the night goes on, just get grittier and fucking grittier. And you end up underground. Oh, no, wait, we're not doing that again.
Well, yeah. When's the last time Raw went gritty? How did that go?
But yeah, interestingly, it sounds like they might be able to, if they've got particular things that need that bit of extra blood or, even language even, they could reserve it for the later hour of Raw. And it'd actually make the 3-hour thing a bit more palatable as well. But there's not to say it's a done deal, but certainly an interesting idea. What do you think of that? Having it being a relatively PG product with an hour's worth of right, now we can say fuck, let's do it.
Yeah, it could feel a bit jarring, couldn't it? It depends what exactly it is they do in that final hour if it goes ahead.
I'd love them to be so meta about it. You, sir, are a cunt. Sorry,
yeah. I mean, that would be hilarious. But yeah, knowing WWE, I don't think they would execute it quite as hilariously as that. But I don't know, it's a strange one. You might have people who prefer to be more on the PG side who then just don't ever get a main event on Raw. You know what I mean? How's that going to work? Are people going to be penalised?
I mean, that's a fair point. I suppose it's
penalised. You can say that at technical.
I suppose it's if you do, if you go non-PG for the sake of it, then you could potentially do that. If you just go, the freedom's there, then it's not too bad. Yeah. If you go, well, we need to use that hour for that, then like you say, main events will become chaos because then you think you shouldn't have to be grittier.
The thing that makes me laugh about it as well is do they think that kids at the minute stay up until 10 o'clock and then just go, right, go to bed now, and then they never see the final hour?
That's exactly what happens.
Oh, okay.
I know my children say, Father, the hour is upon us. Okay,
we must go to bed now. So yeah, it feels a bit weird to go, well, for the final hour we can do this, but we'll see.
It's basically, for the final hour we can blame the parents.
Yeah.
Why are your kids still up?
Why are you letting them watch this? So we will see.
Not that we've made a nice shiny bright lights product that they can watch most of.
Not exactly.
We're not going to try and draw them into the last hour.
No, never. Speaking of things that we may or may not be drawn into, is Cody Rhodes' potential acting career, Anthony. Now, the belief is around WrestleMania time in Hollywood, Cody was going to several kind of, I don't want to say auditions as such, but meeting with media executives about potential movie roles.
So the Marine 25?
Maybe. Well, you say that, but one of the ones which came out of it, which I'm actually keen to get your thoughts on, is the potential of playing Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat movie. How do you feel about that?
I don't know.
He's so flabbergasted.
For those listening and not watching, I just knocked my own glasses off. I don't know, because he kind of naturally fits that role of an arrogant Hollywood guy, which is Johnny Cage. Likable but kind of pompous.
Yeah.
That's kind of Cody to a T. I don't put this without sounding like I'm coming at Cody again, because I like Cody, right? I'm not sure his ability to talk about himself on the mic really translates to he's going to be a really good actor.
If he's going to play anyone,
seeing would be believing.
Johnny Cage makes sense. Johnny Cage ended up getting a giant tattoo of Cage across himself, and Cody's got a giant nightmare tattoo.
I'm surprised he hasn't got Cody.
Yeah.
I'm just curious now. Are we doing more Mortal Kombat? Is that a lock?
I believe so. There's going to be a follow up. Yeah,
they did that film that didn't really. I still haven't seen it. Like it wasn't
I saw
bad.
It was all right, to be fair.
Well, that's how I've heard. It's like it was okay. That's why I've not seen it. All the reviews are like, yeah,
like the original has obviously a soft spot in many people's hearts, but it's really
fucking stupid,
shit movie, right?
I mean, the sequel to the original is horrendous.
Yeah. But like obviously people like the first one. This one was
we're gonna have to move to a different pod if we're gonna be talking about Mortal Kombat. But
this is a much more updated version anyway, regardless. But yeah, seems like they're doing a second, and maybe Cody Rhodes will be Johnny Cage. But I guess it just goes to show as well, like he is clearly that kind of person who wants to. I think he's come out and said he doesn't want to leave wrestling behind. He doesn't want to be someone who uses it as a platform to go to Hollywood. Like he's a pro wrestler and he'll always be a pro wrestler, and that's his first choice. But obviously he's done like Rhodes at the Top. He's done a pilot which I don't think's been picked up about whiskies or something like that. So he's keen to break into other avenues, isn't he? So,
but they're worried about his inability to finish a story.
Ooh. On that note.
So, here's an
Speaking of finishing the story,
I can't believe you put this one on me. So, Goldberg, Carl, as a lot of people will know, is now a free agent. No longer under contract with WWE. And they've asked him about the possibility of retiring from wrestling, and he basically has confirmed that no, he's not going to retire. He doesn't feel like he's done his farewell, if you will. And he almost alluded to the fact that he felt WWE should have offered him that. But he has also said that he's potentially going to do a bit of a farewell tour, a Goldberg farewell tour, in which he rocks up just fucking in my nightmares, just to really have his final matches, you know. I mean, you know, all moaning aside, I'm not a massive fan of the way he was booked. I don't think he can really go in the ring anymore. But, you know, this man has given his life to wrestling and he wants to go out on his terms, so I can't knock him for that. How do you feel about this? Because there's been potential, like Tony Khan, for instance, has said that he's keeping his eye on him. I don't know why he's said that. Like what's he doing? Tony's just watching him. Like,
he is a name that transcends the sport, let's be honest, right? Like him or not, he is somebody that people know and recognise for whatever reason. On our TikTok, he's one of our more recent ones that we did, and people fucking love him. Like all the comments are just like, he's the best, he's the GOAT, he's the best.
I'm really torn about the idea of him turning up on AEW, and this is nothing against Goldberg.
Yeah.
Because in some levels you look at it and go, Goldberg Sting, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then it just further adds credence to these fuckers on the internet who are going, it's just WCW all over again. It's like, okay, just because we've got Goldberg and Sting and Diamond Dallas Page turned up that one time, and Jeff Jarrett is there, and Tony Schiavone, just because, like, it's getting harder and harder to tell them that's wrong.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know, adding Goldberg to the mix, like, I don't know. I don't know if we can do it. But I get it. I get why Tony Khan would be interested in letting him do something.
Like, I don't want to see it, right? By any means. But you look at something like All In, or you look at like Forbidden Door, or you look at all these things that are coming up. Could you have him appear for a one-off? Like, could you have him versus Sting maybe for Sting's retirement match as well? Could you have him versus Wardlow and really build up someone like Wardlow? And yeah, I know you're looking at it going, does it build him up, beating up an old man? But it's still... On his record, he's beat Goldberg. People won't look at how old he was at the time. It's like, oh, he's beat Goldberg. So
in 2023.
Yeah. So it's one of them.
Now, for me, it's like, you know what? He enjoys it. You know, carry on. I don't want to have to see it.
Carry on. Cross?
Well, we don't know where he is.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't want to have to see it. Personally.
He enjoys it. You go ahead and do that. Go and have that Goldberg retirement.
If it brings you joy, do it. Yeah. But
it's a shame. Like I like that. I wasn't against him coming back and obviously wanting to show his son in wrestling for the first time. His son has never seen it. I was actually quite endearing.
His son's now seen him wrestle for the 50th time.
Exactly, and it's like, yeah, we get it. Like, but we'll see. I don't particularly want to see it, but let's see what happens.
But no, I suppose you were expecting me to be a lot more bitter about it, but I get why he wants to go on his terms. I do totally get that. And sadly, I think AEW would be a good shout for some of the nostalgia.
Indeed. So this one's short and not necessarily sweet, but anyone who saw SmackDown this past Friday, there was a tag team match, obviously Braun teaming up with Ricochet, and there was a moment where, well, a couple of moments, he tossed Ricochet into the ring but completely missed the opponent and just basically fucked that up. But then as he went to exit the ring, he twatted his head on the turnbuckle and basically just fell to the floor. And people were just like, oh, he's had a mare there, didn't think too much of it. but he's now since come out and said he's suffered a concussion, which is not ideal. So that means that he's going to be kind of out of action for at least a couple of weeks, I'd imagine, based on concussion protocols.
I mean, it's no joke. I mean, I didn't really, know much about the whole concussion trials and all that kind of stuff, but I watched that film that Will Smith was in. Concussion, that's the one. And when you go like, obviously that's a dramatization of a real thing that happened, but at the same time, like, I didn't realize like how bad concussion trauma was. As daft as that sounds, you hear it go. When you go like, oh, you might be concussed. Make sure they don't fall asleep. Check the pupils dilate. All that usual thing of like in normal day to day life when you think somebody's took a knock.
Yeah.
But like that sort of thing of like that repeated trauma is like, that's fucking terrifying, to be honest. So like, I totally get why, like you say, that protocol has to be in place, and hopefully, like you say, it's
I suppose. I mean, shout out to Will Smith's performance in that as well. It really slapped, I thought. I want to rock the boat there, but yeah. All joking aside, terrible thing. Nobody ever wants to. I mean, you've seen what happened to Adam Cole with his concussions. As he said, there was days he just couldn't stop crying and was throwing up and everything. It's just like, it's horrible to have stuff like that happen. And
I think, honestly, for me, it's a terrifying thing when you look at it. It could affect you mentally.
Yeah,
like that's terrifying to me. Like losing your own faculties is just fucking terrifying. So hats off to any of them, because I would probably walk away. Like,
and to be fair,
walk away, out of fear.
Not that it would be different if this wasn't the case, but obviously we met Braun, and he was a really nice guy when he loved the fella. So
like, I know he has been controversial in the past.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, social media wise, he has been. But like you say, to meet him as a human,
he was lovely, wasn't he? So obviously, speedy recovery to him, and hopefully he's back right in his reign soon.
Fucking tall as well, isn't he?
Fucking tall,
fucking tall guy. Is he?
We've not got him on the pictures.
No, you're not there. But we did get one.
We have got a picture. Yeah. But there's we just met so many.
That's true. That is true. So, Carl, the last one. And I don't know how I feel about this. So you remember?
I remember.
Fuck's sake. Damn you, South Park. Just naturally slip into it now. Do you remember during the pandemic, wrestlers were making money for themselves through things like Cameo and such like that, and WWE were like, wait a minute, our pockets are empty. And they just said no and put a stop to it for a lot of stuff. And then slowly introduced elements back so they could do cameos, etc., through the approval of WWE. One long-standing thing has been Twitch. Now, obviously, Twitch was heavily used at the time by the likes of Adam Cole, and obviously it doesn't work for the company anymore. But a lot of wrestlers were Twitch streaming in their free time, and we're making some bank. And WWE were like, oh there, son. So we've now reached an agreement. WWE have said that wrestlers can continue to use Twitch and make money through Twitch and stream on Twitch, but the deal is a 3-way deal now. So so the wrestlers get a cut of the pie. Kinky. I believe Twitch get a cut of the pie, however it works, and WWE get a cut of the pie now. So basically, WWE are going, you can, as long as you pay the man. But they have clarified that they get the smallest cut, which is nice, given that they didn't do anything other than well, we're going to tell you no unless you give us money. I think it's good of them to take the smallest piece.
Yeah.
So I think it's just fucking bullshit. But at least they can at least do it again. It doesn't jeopardize their main job.
Still draw the line, fan sites and the like, though.
Figure out how to make their own money from that.
But yeah, people will be getting twitchy.
Hey,
again, relatively soon. So yeah, that was the news this week. There's that much going on. I'm sure we've missed a shitload, but
probably,
and we were a week late with this. Let's be honest.
Do journalism.
Yes, we do. But yeah, another fun-filled show. And yeah, we've got some awesome stuff lined up this week. Hopefully, you will have checked out our interview with AEW's Senior Vice President, Chief Legal Officer, Mega Perek. So if you haven't, go and check that out straight away. She's awesome.
She's an extremely fascinating person, too.
Indeed. It's like, what a hell of a story. And
I'll be honest, I kind of feel lazy after speaking to her.
Well, exactly, yeah. We thought we were busy. You want to see the kind of shit she does. But yeah, go and check out the interview with Mega. And we've also got our episode 10, where we're saying the 10 names that absolutely must move shows in the draft.
Indeed,
so
indeed.
Make sure you go and check that out. Thank you for watching this. And until next time, we will say bye.